Hi, Nanette.
Oh, I fell asleep there. Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you? It's
Good.
nice to meet you virtually.
Yeah, sure. You're early.
That's a military habit.
Oh, right. They make you be early. I was late for work my entire early 20s. And it wasn't until I started becoming older that I was able to get up earlier and be on time.
Yeah, there's this mentality that if you're not 15 minutes early in the military, then you're late.
Hello, Dick.
Yeah. I have a dying, very large tree in my backyard, so it's not a street tree. I would urge that there be nothing to limit myself asking AC tree to cut it down.
Yeah, we'll charge you. How big is the tree? Pretty big?
Is what?
How big is the tree?
How big is the tree? It's probably 2 feet DBH, maybe 3.
So it's about 60 feet tall.
Is what?
60 feet tall.
Oh, yeah. And much of it has already fallen on top of the roof of my garage in huge pieces.
What type of tree is it?
It's a swamp maple, red maple.
Oh, okay. And it died?
Trees die slowly, so part of it is dead and part of it is not.
Well, my neighbor next door she's got a huge tree. It's a maple, but I don't know if it's a swamp maple. Anyway, she was going to take it down. She said it's dead. There's a big hole in it. There's animals living in there. And when the tree guy came, he told her, no, there's nothing wrong with your tree. And he topped it off. And we're going to wait. I'm waiting to see what happens in the spring. They really chopped it up, but maybe it'll get another couple years. The same thing happened with Dolly Moore. I don't know if you know Dolly Moore. She lived across the street and she had a huge maple tree. Or no, it's not a maple. It's the one with the flowers.
Magnolia.
No. Anyway, they had that tree topped and it's gorgeous now. It is absolutely beautiful. Hi, Amy's here. Who else is here? Mike's here.
How you guys doing?
Here. Hi, how are you?
Hello.
We've got a few more minutes. Hazel is not coming. She had an appointment. And Mike's here. Hi, Mike.
What's up? How are you?
Not much. What are you doing these days?
Working.
Yeah.
Working. Yeah. Back at it again.
What's the job now? I keep forgetting.
I'm doing programming for Northern Suffolk Railroad, actually, where I'm helping them program some automation with this company called Cahaba, which is a trucking company. So they need to move bank deposits basically back and forth between a bunch of companies across the country. So building them an app to do it.
Oh, cool. So do you get to work at home or do you have to go?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're actually based out of Alabama, this
cool.
trucking company. So it's full remote. So not too shabby.
Is it
But we're in the thick of it now.
Day,
I missed what you said.
Is it filling up your day?
It is, yeah. And it should for another month or two. And then it should slow down a bit. But we're getting there, still getting there in the grant too. So I can give an update of that at some point. But yeah. I'm definitely quite a busy bee now with this. So
me too. I got a lot of irons in the fire. And we got one big one accomplished this week. So thanks to Jody. I don't know if she's on. Is Rick on?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yes, I'm here.
That's Mary Dovey. All right, well, we could get started. like I said, we got over a big hurdle this weekend with Jody's help. We were able to get our application in for certification, and we submitted for enough actions to get 220 points, but we're not finished yet. And our next deadline is in May 10th. And we're going to have probably another 45 points. So that's exciting. I don't think we've ever submitted that many actions. You know, if they accept them or not is another story. So sometimes they'll ask for more documentation or whatever, and then we have time to fill that order. But some of the things they might say, you know, we're not going to approve. So I think we'll be okay. I think we will get certified in November, and I'm excited about that because I was worried. But we did a lot. When you look at the list of stuff we did, it's amazing how much we got accomplished with just our small team. So I'm pleased.
Hey, Nanette.
Yes.
I know one of the actions that you were looking for, I think, was the Cedar Creek student that was
Yes.
measuring the salt content.
Uh-huh.
Is that something that you'd be looking for before May?
Yes, it should be
Okay.
done by then. I think she was only going to go out like 4 or 5 times, and we've had no snow.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I
you
think,
know,
yeah, I
but
think
that's
she would be
okay.
good.
That's what the reading is, and it's based on the weather anyway. But that'll get us 5 points.
Okay.
So I think she'll be probably finished April maybe.
Okay.
So I think she said she was going to go out 4 times.
Okay, perfect.
So, but she should keep testing, even though it's not, because I think we did have 1 or 2 snowstorms, and most of the salt is coming not from the city, because they only salt the intersections. They don't salt the whole street, the Pike and the county roads, and that all leads into that pipe there where
Right.
she's going. So.
Yeah, she did. I caught up with her in the hallway once last week, and she said that there was definitely a measurable difference.
Oh, really?
After the last snowstorm, yeah.
Oh, no kidding. Good.
Yeah.
That's good to see. Oh, good. Yeah, so she'll do that. That's the first on the list that we'll have non-mandated recycling, which is on the agenda here. It's the last thing, help see textile recycling. And I'll talk about that in a bit. We'll have our tree ordinance adopted before May, I think, which will give us 10 more points. We'll have the Sybil Schaller gravesite finished. That'll get us some points, 10 points. And we did it, but we'll have to do a little bit more on residential energy outreach. I just didn't get time to put this stuff into the application. So we'll definitely have 10 points there too. So we're doing good. We're doing really good. That was such a relief to see all that happen over the weekend. Jody put some stuff in that she did that I didn't know about. So we're good. We're all good. I will put up on the agenda here Arbor Day celebration, because we got the tree grant. We wanted to have a nice Arbor Day celebration this year. We decided to do it at Peace Pilgrim Park. We'll have some vendors there. I think Cedar Creek has they're growing vegetables, hydroponic vegetables, and we'd like them to come and sell their vegetables or give away whatever they do with them.
Yeah, we are we're in the middle of, well, not in the middle, we're getting towards the end of applying for a grant for an aquaponic system. We're going to take one of our unused bathrooms, and we're going to take everything out, and we're going to put in an aquaponic system. An aquaponic system is it's a large fish tank that feeds a system of what would look like to you or me like white PVC pipe, a series of rows of that, and we'll be growing leafy greens in there, and the fish actually provide the nutrients that help the plants grow, and it should be a closed cycle, something that we shouldn't really have to, obviously we'd have to maintain it, but we shouldn't have to add nutrients, we shouldn't have to add anything. So the goal is if we get this grant, we would have that up and running. I mean, it would be great if we got it up and running over the summer,
Oh,
but
okay.
it would operate year round.
Okay.
And
That's
it
awesome.
would be, yeah, we'd have a couple classes that would be involved in keeping it going throughout the year. So
Our kids' elementary school, we have one at the school, and it's great. Everybody loves it. The kids bring home basil and stuff like that. All the classes are involved. Hopefully you can get that going because they're really
Yeah.
cool.
yeah, we have three towers that are, I mean, they're almost 6 feet tall, and we get herbs and some leafy greens from it. This system would be far more substantial. We would have a lot of goals. So we'll have to see how much it will produce. The guy gave me a number. It didn't mean anything to me. Like I don't know what is 10,000. I don't know. 10,000.
It's usually not too much. Like it's a classroom size for us, and the classes rotate on who gets to bring home the greens and stuff like that. But it's still educational. Kids love it. It should be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
luck.
we're excited about it.
Where's this grant coming from?
I'd have to go and look into it. It's SPECA. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what that is. I can find out though.
And is this going to be an expensive proposition?
It's a
For you to set up?
$50,000 system. Yeah,
50?
yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's great. That's good to hear. I guess, well, you won't be participating in the Arbor Day, but maybe there's something else the high school could come over and do or whatever.
Yeah.
Think about it. If you think of anything, let me know. Just
Mhm.
drop me an email. They're welcome to come, and we're going to do it at Peace Pilgrim Park. It's going to be 3 to 6 p.m. Friday, April 26th. We need Hazel's going to head this up. She's not here tonight. She had another appointment, but we'll have one food vendor, and we'll have the folks from the energy programs at Atlantic City Electric and South Jersey Gas. And we're thinking about getting T-shirts made, just simple T-shirts. The theme for Arbor Day nationwide this year is plant trees. So we're thinking of getting black T-shirts with just the words plant trees on it. I don't know. We need to adjust our small grant that we got last year. We had put $1,300 in there for our newsletter, but it really only cost about $300. So we're gonna we sent a request to switch over to this program. So we'll have $1,000 to work on Arbor Day stuff. And the main part of the program, and this is something, Mike, you would be interested in, is we're going to have a photo contest this year. It's going to be online through our website. It's open to students in middle school and high school, and to the general public, for adults in the general public. And the contest theme is the art of the tree. We're asking the students and anybody who wants to submit. They could submit up to 2 photographs. They'll send them to there's a page set up on our website where they can just register and send their photos, and we'll post them on a gallery. And the judges, they're going to be judged by 3 professional photographers. Brenda's not professional. Oh, maybe she is. She keeps getting prizes. So we'll have Dave Griffin. Everybody knows Dave. He used to work for the press and the Current, and another fellow named Joe Bruno, who I do not know. We'll be judging them. We may have them mounted and on display across the fence at Peace Pilgrim Park, and we'll have a best of show. We'll give out ribbons to the categories, and then we'll have cash prizes for the first place in each category. And the prizes will be, where did I put that? First place will be $100, second place $75, third place $50, and we're going to try to get some gift cards for honorable mentions. The deadline for submission is April 15th, and the full list of rules is posted on the website. It'll be at sustainableehc.org/photo-contest. And I think that it would be something we can do every year, hopefully, and have a contest with a different theme, environmental theme every year. So that'll be the main part of it. We'll need help the day of the event, setting up. We'll need to move tables. So if anybody can help out with that, we'd appreciate it. And if you have any vendors that you think might work well, we're going to try to get like a native plant sale vendor and things like that. So if you think of anything, let me know and we'll add them to the list. And let's see what else. We have a lot of grants to talk about. Our BPU implementation grant, they extended the deadline to May 24th, and they're encouraging us to, well, the minimum you could apply for is $250 up to $500,000. They might not fund over $250, but they're asking us to submit anyway. And that'll be for things like the charging stations, solar installation, and so forth. We talked about that before, but I just wanted to let everybody know that our grant deadline was extended to May 24th. We'll talk about that more later on. When we're still waiting for the engineer to send the final community energy plan, which will have everything outlined in there. There was a companion grant to this, but I think we're going to miss the deadline on that. Well, maybe we can apply for it next year if the money's still available. The USDA Urban Community Forestry Grant, the $1 million grant that we got, we spent some time adjusting it and removing some programs, and we're going to switch to another grant for the things we had to take out. We took out an invasive species study, and we moved things around so there will be less money for tree trimming, but we had to work some things into that grant, such as a tree inventory that we have to do. The new rules require that it be done by a professional. We've been, and you know, Dick has been going around. We have the baseline for the tree inventory, but it has to be submitted by a professional. So we're working on getting an arborist on board. So hopefully the arborist can do this, and we're recommending that they use iTree because we already uploaded the information to that platform. So we want to be able to have whoever is given the contract to do the tree trimming to have something in their vehicle where they can update it as they're going down the street and trimming the trees. You know, they could say this tree's dead, we're taking it down. That comes off, that gets marked as removed. Or if they trim it and they say it's healthy, it's going to recover, then they'll mark all that in the iTree platform. The other thing that we had to work into the budget was our fourth community forestry management plan. And that's done every 3 or 4 years. We've been doing it. We've been getting small grants to do that. And the last one we got was very good. And we had an arborist from North Jersey come down, and he did that plan. And we accomplished pretty much everything that's in the plan except to become Tree City USA. So we'll work on that next year. Hopefully we'll be able to do that. The RFQ went out for the consulting arborist. It's been advertised, and we sent to a list of arborists that are published on the website for New Jersey Community Forestry. So the deadline for them to respond is the end of the week, I think. So I don't know if we've gotten any proposals yet, but you know, it's not an easy thing to find an arborist. Not every town has one, so we'll see what happens with that. We've also been working on our tree protection ordinance. worked with the city attorney to prepare this. And we, I asked not to introduce it at council yet until we get an arborist on board. And hopefully the arborist can review it and let us know if we got everything we need to put in there. So that'll be introduced probably sometime in April. We need to have it adopted by May. And what else is on here? One of the things that is included in the, and Dick, you'll be excited to hear this, is that we're going to have to reinstitute our we're going to call it a tree board. So we'll actually have a group of people who will guide the grant and guide the city on trees. We have I put it in your packet, a description, well, for the two positions. One's for the consulting arborist, and the other one's for the volunteer tree board member. And what I'm going to request is that they be core trained, and Dick is core trained. Dan Schau, who is core trained, I'm core trained, and we would like to get 2 more people on the board. So if you know of anybody who's interested in preserving trees and doing that type of work, let us know. Some of the things we're going to ask them to do is be a resource for the city and advocate for trees and listen, like hear any kind of conflicts that we might have either with the arborist or, we also have to develop a process for people to request trees or request trees being taken down and so forth. So if you look at that position description that's in the packet that I sent earlier today, let me know if you know of anybody who would be interested in serving on the board. We don't want more than 5 people, though. Somebody say something?
Yeah, Amy, I was going to say, I know nothing about it, but I would be very interested in doing whatever.
Well, if you are interested, on March 1st, they're starting core training online. It's a $30 course. I think it runs through the whole month of April, March or April. I'll send you the information, but it's, you proceed at your leisure. So you would take a module and then proceed to the next. There's also another thing I found online, which is free, but it's not core training, is the Rutgers University Tree Board University. It's free. I went on there yesterday, I took the first module, and that's also, it's, at your own pace. You can finish it whenever you want, but that has a lot of good information in there about how to be a tree board member and so forth. So between those 2 courses, you'd be well trained to serve on the board.
All right. Yeah. So I'll wait for the information.
Yeah, I'll send it to Amy. And
thank you.
And we'll also have to do, once we introduce the ordinance, we'll have a public meeting. We will host a public meeting because I'm sure people are going to want to know what's happening, and maybe provide refreshments or something like that, and just give them an idea of what the grant is covering. A lot of people think, they're going to get trees for the yards, but we're not going to be able to do too many tree plantings. It's mostly maintenance work. So, but people complain all the time about their trees. They don't want to rake, and that's not an excuse for not having a street tree. So we're going to have to, work on that. And Jody will establish a shade tree trust fund, where if we get any revenue from, tree requests or donations or anything like that, we'll have somewhere to put the money. And there are 2 additional tree grants that we're going to apply for. The deadline's April 5th, so we'll have the month to work on the grants. There's 2 grants being offered by the New Jersey community forestry. And they are only offered to 55 municipalities in the state, and we're one of them. And the first one is a training grant where they will provide all the funds for volunteers, board members, or staff, like public works staff, to attend the Shade Tree Federation Conference in Cherry Hill. They will award up to $3,000 a year for that. It's way more money than is needed, but if we wanted to train, I guess for a bigger city, it's not a lot, but for us, it's an awful lot of money, $3,000, when probably it will cost us maybe $500 to send everybody to training. And the other grant is a match to that the USDA grant. $850,000. They expect you to apply for the entire amount. So what we will do is the stuff that we had to remove from the USDA grant, we will put into this grant, and we will add a lot of tree plantings, removal of invasive species. What else? Fall plantings, and looking at our parks and playgrounds, and maybe underserved neighborhoods like the one out at the Washington Avenue apartments and the Philadelphia Village. I don't know I haven't been out there lately, but we could look at that and see if there's any plantings that we could do out there. And anything else you could think of that needs to be done regarding trees, please let me know, and we could work it into this grant. It would have been nice to have everything in both grants so we can pick and choose, because you don't know if you're going to get the second grant. We already got the first grant, but we're going to apply for the second and see what happens. They kind of like us at the state because we did 2 other programs that were very successful. And we had a conference with them a couple of weeks ago, Jody and I, and we were their guinea pig for fielding calls for future meetings that they were having with people who want to apply. So we got through a lot of good stuff, and they were very encouraging. So I'm looking forward to doing the grant. And we're going to do that on our own.
Can I say something on that?
Yes.
Remember that with respect to tree planting, first of all, if you knock on doors and ask if people want a tree, fewer than half would accept a tree. So we have to decide, I think, that it's something that the city is going to do without the cooperation, if necessary, of the homeowner.
Yeah,
and
we might have to do that. If we don't get a good response when we ask, we might have to just say, you're sorry, you're getting one,
And the second complication is that fewer than half of all the properties are locally owned, so that you're not able to talk to the owners. They're absentee. So again, we need to educate members of the public that trees are a good thing, and show them good pictures of nice trees, and advocate for the benefits of street trees.
All right, we might have to do a mailing to the out-of-town owners and let them know that we have this program, and that
if we can even get those people. Yes.
Well, they're on the tax roll, so we'll send it out. And mailings are not something we normally do because they're expensive. But now that we have the tree grant, we have outreach money, so we can do this.
Good,
and
good.
Glad you brought that up, because I did, deal with a couple of tenants and another landlord who owned several properties during the last tree planting project. And he was happy to get the trees. He was like, yeah, put one in every one of my properties. So that's a good thing. But that's a good point to bring up. And what else? That's pretty much it with the trees. And then we have the Sybil Schaller. Mike, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So benches have been ordered. They're coming from ACUA. There's going to be 2 4-foot benches. We're a little under budget on the benches, which is nice. So I think we're going to try to buy some sort of iron rod or some other form of security that we can hopefully try to attach something into the ground to attach these benches to, so we don't get them stolen. They will look pretty nice. I was also thinking maybe if there's a wood carver in town or something, some sort of artist that can maybe come out to the benches and somehow engrave EHC Lake or something else into the benches just to make it, somewhat of deterrent to be stolen. But I actually want to see how these benches look before we go that route.
Well, aren't they made out of recycled materials?
They are, so it seems like a real thick plastic. So I don't know if they even can be carved, maybe painted or something. Or have some sort of vinyl sticker, maybe. I don't know. Just something that's gonna notate that this is, EHC property and try to deter a theft. Because we did lose one bench back at the nature trail. I don't even know how they got that thing out of there. Those benches were so heavy. But we did lose a bench and a sign. So anything we can do to prevent theft, let's try to put some measures in there.
Yeah. Would putting down a concrete pad under the bench and anchoring it to the concrete help?
Maybe. I don't know. It may take away the natural feel of it with concrete there.
Uh-huh.
Maybe what we can do though is put stone down underneath, and then you have the thing hidden a little bit by the stone, whatever we anchor it with. That could work a little too. And just having maybe one concrete that's like a Sonos tube or something that's a little buried down, and then it attaches to that, and then that's covered with stone. That could maybe work. Let me think on that. I kind of want to see the benches too. They're going to be out pretty soon, I believe. So we'll have to pick them up from ACUA. They're being shipped from Ohio, I believe.
And then Public Works will pick them up?
Yeah, we'll just have to have Keith head over and pick them up. Should
Okay.
hopefully just one ride over should do it, I believe, with the truck. So I'll just stay tuned, and once they're in, I'll let you know.
Okay.
We've also ordered the restoration of the actual gravestone. Peterson's going to come out and do it. We're not going to actually remove the gravestone. We think that's a little too risky. So they're going to try to plumb up the gravestone a bit. It's tilted back a little. So they're going to attempt to see if they can straighten it up. But if not, they'll just leave it. But basically what they're doing is just a deep clean on it. They're going to use some sort of chemical cleaner that they use on gravestones today to kind of just wash away all the dirt and clean it up. And then they're going to use this gray, like it's not like a paint. I think it's more of an epoxy that they will engrave the actual letterings in to preserve the lettering, so you can actually read it, and it should preserve it. And I think they're going to put a seal over the sandstone as well. The issue with sandstone, it's very fragile, and it doesn't hold up in the sun and to time. So that gravestone is taking a beating. You really can barely read it right now. So they're going to be coming out on site over, I think, a month or two. I don't know if they've actually started yet, but I think they're getting prepared to start. And they're going to come out over multiple visits to do this cleaning and this engraving, and hopefully it's going to look pretty nice by the time everything's all said and done.
Yeah, we'll have to do a cleanup out there.
We will.
Saw a couple postings on the Friends of the Lakes page that said that they're partying out there again.
Yeah, well, there's people on the north side and also down south on where the trail's at. So, yeah, I guess and I'm pretty sure Casey will be able to run this. Maybe I'll message her and just double check. But when the annual lake cleanup happens in the first week of May, we could probably just knock that out and handle both the Shaler Grave and the nature park. Overall, there really hasn't been much trash added back there. There was one period where the gates were busted through and a big party happened, and that accumulated some trash. And I think here and there, we're still getting a little bit of trash, but overall it's not too bad. I did notice the last time I was down that the trash can and the recycling are actually filled up now. So that's a good thing to see. I think it's just from also, there's like some bags in there, which seemed like someone just took a bag back with them to clean up trash as they went along. But I don't think it's on the ACUA route. So I don't know if Keith can just go over and grab them.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure how we should dispose of the trash in there.
Well, I'll let Keith know that it's filled up and he'll take care of that.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. Obviously, still no update on finding the bench or the sign. It'd be nice to eventually get another old dam sign back there. That thing was pretty cool. We could figure out benches too, but that's not as big as a deal as the sign is to me.
It was the mystery dam sign that was taken.
Yeah, and the post for it too. And then one of the benches from the Mountain Laurel area. Also, one of the lake engraved signs was taken, but then it turned back up. Somebody hung it from a chain. where the water's at. I haven't had a chance to move that out yet. I'll need to get a ladder back there. But it's hanging from a tree. That's where it turned up. So I'm wondering, I haven't been across the creek yet to the other side to see if someone moved the bench and the sign over there, but maybe it will turn up. We'll see. But it was a little promising knowing that lake sign turned back up. So maybe the other ones will too. Be nice to be able to recoup that infrastructure and get it back where it belongs.
Sounds like they have great parties.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I mean, I kind of get it too. I used to party in the woods as a teenager. You just do it. A lot of kids just do it. But
I think every person in town has partied out there at one point or another. Not
you know,
me,
if
because I'm
everyone would
not
just
from
bring their
here.
trash back with them and not have like giant gasoline fires, and it should be fine. We did notice that too the last time we were out there. The whole pit smelled like gasoline. So somebody was
Oh, that's
dumping.
not good.
I know. Yeah, it smelled pretty bad. I'm sure it's probably broken down a little by now, but somebody dumped gasoline on that thing and didn't light it for whatever reason. So I'll be down, I think, this weekend, and I'll go back there again and take a look.
Okay, good.
Okay, I still had other updates on the grant still.
Go ahead.
I still to talk about. Paul has been out to the site to look at fencing. Paul from Schreier Mills. So they're going to do a little cedar fence, but he's a little hesitant. I think he thinks it's just going to be vandalized. He thinks the cedar fences are very fragile.
What's there
And
now?
just metal posts that were there
There's
from
nothing
before.
going, like a rail?
No, well, that actually, yeah, the metal posts and the rails are still there too, but no fence. So I technically you could put chain link back out there again. I think that looks a little unsightly though. I think what we should do is pull the posts out. We'll probably need Keith for that too. And then just put the fencing in. I mean, or we can also just not do any fencing. You don't really need a fence there. It could just put pavers down. And I'm open to ideas too, but Paul is going to quote out something for
how about looking at what they did over at the cemetery? There's a lot of historic graves, and they have like just a rail all around them.
I'll take a look. I'm a little hesitant for anything metal.
I mean, it's historic. The cemetery is kind of, it's old.
You know, anything that's metal, I just worry about, people stealing. But I'll go take a look. Could maybe just one single rail. I mean, that may not be too much. I would think we have budgeted $600 for whatever sort of fence we want to do. So it just needs to be less than that. And metal things get pricey really quick. So we may not even be able to do a metal fence for $600. We may only have to be able to do the wood. So the last thing I still have to tackle is the sign. I haven't really got too much momentum on that yet. I'm hoping that's going to be a March task for me and knock that sign out and probably just have Signorama printed up again. I don't think the research hasn't gotten too far. I still need to talk with Dennis and Dick. I know I spoke with you a little bit too in email. I never really got anywhere. I think the other option is, if I can reach out to Atlantic Historical Society and you can pay them $200, I think, for an hour or something like that to research the actual archives. So maybe we go that route and see if someone can go into the actual state archives and dig around for a bit and see what they find. And if they don't find anything, we'll just go with what we have. It would be nice to find some sort of documentation though to throw on that sign. Well, and then once I have that, I don't think it's going to take too much time to knock that sign out. We over budgeted there, so we can go probably with a little bit of a nicer material. And yeah, that's where I'm at right now. That's what I got.
Okay, well, I was talking to Hazel, and they were looking for something to do for Women's History Month, and she said that they would do something on Sybil Schaller.
That'd be cool.
So she said Dennis was going to start doing some research.
I'll call him again. I actually called him today just to see if I could get a hold of him, but I haven't been able to actually talk with him. I haven't gotten a call back.
Their meetings are the last Monday of the month, so it would be March. Would it be March 25th? So they might
it'd be nice. Maybe I'll sync up with her. But what I really would like is someone to go to those state archives and do a search on the films of the old newspapers and things like that, and just see if we can find anything that really isn't in, like, it's not known right now, in a sense. Like maybe something was never found before, or maybe there really is nothing. Maybe there was never a newspaper clipping or anything like that. You know, maybe there is no documentation, but from what I can tell, I don't think anyone's really done that deep dive at the archives on this subject. So I have no idea how to do that. But maybe the Atlantic City Historical Society can help with that.
Yeah.
And Dick, if you have any other ideas, just I'm all ears.
You'll have to remind me of exactly what you want.
What I want is
Just by writing.
okay, sure.
Thanks.
The other thing is,
And regarding signs, can I say something?
Go ahead.
yes,
I was talking to Eric Huster yesterday, who said the county has just got a new gadget for making signs that cuts into wood or cuts into plastic. Very high tech, very specialized, makes any kind of typeface and any type style that you want and on any material. And he's
Interesting.
willing to let it be used by municipalities and other private and other nonprofits.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. What would the cost of using it be? But yeah, I'll send you an email about that too. Actually, that could be pretty cool. You know, one thing about the signs that exist in the nature park is, you know, they're nice and informative, but if you go to like another like basically a better funded park in a sense, you can tell the difference in signs. But I'm willing to bet a wood engraved thing out there would look pretty cool too. So I was a little reluctant just to use the same sort of format I did on the past sign, just because I'm not a professional illustrator, and it'd be nice to not even have to go that route and instead just have something carved, where it would be just words in a sense. So let me think about that. I'll shoot you an email about that too. Actually, that may work.
the other thing is I shared on Facebook a sign company that popped up on my feed, and I shared it to your feed, Mike. I don't know if you saw it.
I may have missed it. I'll go back and check though. It's possible I just missed it.
And will you be working with the Cedar Creek art class to do any artwork for that sign?
No, I didn't. Just because the last time there was a real lot of back and forth, and it took a really long time, and it got really close to where it was almost too late. The one artist did really deliver though, but on the other signs, I never actually got the illustrations that were usable. So I think I didn't also know what to even tell them to draw, you know, because we don't have really any paint-ins or anything like that I'm aware of. We don't really know what she looked like. It would be very abstract on saying, this is what I want you to draw. So I've already was kind of, and I'm not really bashing Cedar Creek, you know, those students, they were all really, really busy too. And Amanda, I think her name was, she went above and beyond, and she's actually on, her flowers are on the big sign. It's all the way back at the loop. But I just didn't want to, I don't think I even want to have an illustration unless I have to. I'd rather just have some words on a sign, and maybe a picture of the old mill from I think it's a replica mill that we have a picture of from the 1920s or something like that. And we can use that picture to be like, this is what the mill would have probably looked like, where, you know, where the Shaler estate was at, and something along those lines. But it's still a little bit abstract in my head. I really want to see if I can nail down this research first, and then hopefully get it right into a sign and have it printed out some point in April. And that's the goal.
Oh, good. Thanks. I appreciate all your hard work on that. It's one less thing I have to worry about, and you're just doing such a great job. It's like it's right in your wheelhouse, as you said. Okay, next thing on the agenda is the Pinelands Preservation Alliance Rain Garden. We have Steve Elliott here. He's online here with us tonight from the Pinelands Preservation Alliance. I had concerns about it. City Council has concerns about maintenance for the rain garden. So maybe Steve.
Yeah, so
down on.
hi everybody. My name is Stephen Elliott from Pinelands Preservation Alliance and the Association for New Jersey Environmental Commissions. So I guess first I'd like to start with just our Lakes grant is a little bit different from our traditional grant. Normally we work with municipalities and we identify locations to install mostly rain gardens because you know, they're educational tools, and at the same time they are collecting some of that stormwater and helping to infiltrate into the ground and get it back into the atmosphere. Our Lakes grant, however, is really going to start with Rutgers coming out and identifying all the different areas around the lake where either restoration can be done or some sort of green infrastructure can be installed. So I know my predecessor had worked with you and identified a potential site for a rain garden. But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves because that might not be the best option. So we might be able to identify some areas for restoration. Now, if we do end up identifying a location where a rain garden makes sense, to keep some of that runoff from entering the lake, then I just want to alleviate some of your concerns in the net. So we are developing a sort of intern program for maintenance. So we want to bring in some interns to kind of introduce them to green stormwater infrastructure and just nature-based solutions in general. But we are developing that. In the meantime, I'm going to be going out at least twice a year to each of our sites and doing an inspection and maintaining or setting up a time where we can try and organize however many volunteers as we can to work on whatever the gardens need. Generally, once the gardens are established, they don't necessarily need as much maintenance, but that first year or two, then generally we are going to keep a close watch on it to make sure that those plants are doing well. And then the other concern that you had was introducing anything that isn't appropriate for the area. And so we use all native plants. Rutgers does the designs. They obviously look at the ecosystem and what the soil looks like, and they choose appropriate plants for those areas. But like I said, the first step would be just to have Rutgers, their team come out. Dr. Chris Abrupta from Rutgers, some of you may have met him before or sat in on some of his webinars. But him and his team would come out, they would look at the area, see if there's any areas that make sense for a rain garden. Then also any areas that look like restoration would make more sense. So basically just replanting an area that's been degraded in some way. And then once they kind of put that plan together and identify those areas, then we would come back to you guys and say, okay, well, what are actually options? What would you like to see first? And then we would put our grant money towards that.
I got you. Well, that sounds good. Would you guys be willing to present to council if I could get that arranged? Because that
would be,
it's city property, and there's a whole committee that pretty much governs parks, playgrounds, and open spaces like that.
Yeah, and so we've already kind of moved forward with some projects because we're doing an accessible trail around the Pemberton Lake area. So we've kind of moved forward with some of the green infrastructure and restoration work, or at least planning it. So we can kind of present that as what we're looking to do for the lakes that are involved in our grant.
So,
yeah, that wouldn't be a
our
problem at all.
lake is man-made. The swimming lake is man-made. You know that, right?
Right.
And there's a road around it. And the road has runoff that goes into, I guess, a pipe. I don't know if it's in a pipe.
There's
Mike,
storm drains. There's like 4 storm drains or so. It takes and
Right,
the
and
road
I
is
saw the one, somebody had sent a picture to my predecessor, and so I do have that, and I've seen
Yeah.
that. So if that makes sense, then
yeah, that's where
something
they're at.
we
There was
could
that
end
was a
up doing.
photo. That was a photo. I sent that photo over, I believe. And
Mhm.
the road's dirt. I think that's the major issue is that since the road is dirt, a lot
lot
of
of sediment.
sediment. Yeah. So if you like, especially if the lake is like drained, for example, and after a rainstorm, you can actually look and just see it. There's just a ton of sediment that's going down these storm drains. Some of them are a little clogged up too. So they'll need to be like,
Okay.
I would like to mention one thing about the rain garden, and we discussed this at city council, that whatever location you pick, it cannot be on the side where the fireworks are, because they make us cut, the fire marshal makes us cut that down before the fireworks in July. So that was a major concern that I had.
where do they set up?
On North Beach.
On the North Shore, where the
Yes.
pavilion is? That's along there?
Where Dog Beach is, I guess
yeah, that's it. Lisa, you know how much clearance they need? Like
the
along
whole
the shoreline?
side, normally we have to cut down that whole side.
Got it. Okay.
So the only place you could possibly put it would be in the front, I guess. And then I don't even know, you know what, you'd probably have to ask the fire marshal about, or yeah, the fire marshal about that one.
I wonder if you could
Okay,
just
and
also
we
just
can
use,
make sure they're included in the conversation.
I wonder if you could also just use like plants that don't grow very tall too. You know, something along those lines where you wouldn't even have to cut them.
Yeah, it might be an option.
Discuss that with the Rutgers folks. But that's
Okay.
one of the constraints, that's all.
Right.
And when can we have like a meeting there or get them down here? Do we need to
We
be
can-
there for them to look or what?
So we can arrange it however you'd like, Nanette. We can, if you want us to come to present the council and kind of just talk about how the process works and coming up with the plan first and then figuring out what project will work best. We can do that, or we can try and come down and just look at the lake first.
I think you should look at the lake first and see, so this way when you present the council, you have something concrete that you want to tell them you want to do.
Okay. Let's do that then, and then I'll reach out to the Rutgers team, get them to schedule a day, and then we can let you know.
Okay, let's do that.
I'd,
good.
Annette and Steve, I'd like to be a part of that. So when
Good.
Rutgers is scheduled, I'd be happy to. I know Chris Abrupta, so.
I wouldn't mind coming out too. That's cool. It seems like a neat day.
Are you available during the day or does it have to be on a weekend or what?
No, I just would need some advance notice. I need to know
Okay.
like a week in advance. And that
Okay,
should be
good.
fine.
That's good. All right.
Yeah, I'd at least be able to point to where all these, there's actually drains all over. It's not even just on the north side. There's some on the other side as well that go right into the landing creek. Then there's the race itself. So I'd be able to help point some of those locations out.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll reach out to them, get a date, and then I'll let everybody know.
Great. That's good. And then
I
the
had to sign off, but thank you for your time.
yeah, I appreciate you coming and straightening all this out because the emails just doesn't, I get thousands of emails every day. I mean, I'm a journalist. I get all those things. I
Yeah.
get all the city stuff. I get all the green team stuff. I can't keep up.
All right.
So-
Well, I'll see you at the Doug Tallamy event, I think,
Oh,
before
yeah, that's
anything.
right.
So nice to meet you in person.
Okay, great. See you then.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
All right.
I should put that on here. It's probably too late to register, but anyway, Doug Tallamy is going to be at Stockton, Atlantic City. When is Doug coming? It's in. I can't find it. Well, anyway, he's going to be at Stockton. I'll find the flyer and send it out to you guys if you're, I think I did send it to everyone to recommend that you register right away because it should fill up really quick. He's a pretty popular speaker. The last thing I had is I attended a webinar on textile recycling, and because that's one of the actions is, recycling stuff that is not normally recycled, and attended this thing, and somebody presented from a company called Helpsy, and they have several outlets. Like they'll take textiles, they'll sort them, they'll put them in stores, they'll put them in thrift shops, they'll send the junk to like a textile ragman or whatever. And so they have various options. And the way they collect it is they set up kiosks, like a bin in municipalities. And I just happened to go onto the website and found out there's one at the Cody building. So I'm waiting to hear back from Cody, but if that's the case, we'll do some promotion for that. And, so that people have a place to take their unwanted stuff outside of the citywide yard sale in August. So we'll be able to promote that and get some points for non-mandated recycling products. And I think,
Nanette, are you talking about worn out clothing?
yeah, clothing. It's
Okay.
not like I have like bins and bins of clothing. I've been taking them to Goodwill lately because they had that fire and they need to restock. So I took a lot of stuff over there. I have to do my shoes next. And, but this is local. This is like right here in town where you could take your unwanted stuff and recycle it. It'll get to the right hands. And they do it, you know, they have quite an extensive program that they do, and they do it all over the state, and they have bins all over the state. So they're equipped. And that, you know, the one thing that I had questions about is how often they collect from those bins, because sometimes you'll see bins overflowing. But they said that they have a really good regular collection day. They come the same time every couple weeks and pick up what's in the bins. So it might be a good option for us to promote through our green team and through the newsletter. So I'm waiting to hear back from Cody. Does anybody know if Linda Carney still works there? No?
I do not.
Okay. I thought maybe Lisa might know. That's it. I got through everything on the agenda. If anybody has anything else they want to bring up, now would be a good time. Oh, one other thing that's really not related to the green team, but we're going to be applying, the city's going to be applying for a grant to replace the Peace Pilgrim statue. So we found a foundry in Maine. They gave us an estimate of like $8,000 to cast her in bronze.
Oh.
So the original artist has offered to pick it up and bring it back to Egg Harbor. We'll have to find somebody to install it. Does anybody know art installation? Anybody does art installations? We'd be looking for somebody to do that. And if we get the grant, we'll be able to get this done.
One item, Nanette, I got a message today that this year's Shade Tree Federation annual convention
City?
will be in Atlantic City on the 17th and 18th of October.
That's
Harris.
great. That's great that it's here and it's not in Cherry Hill, because that drive to Cherry Hill is hard. It's hard, especially in the morning when the road's full of traffic. I'm writing that down. Yeah, I guess it'll be at one of the hotels. Do you know where it's going to be in Atlantic City?
Harris.
At Harris?
Yes. It's the
Good.
hardest one to get to, but you can get there.
Yeah, no, it's not that bad. I mean, but they have a nice conference center, so it's a good spot.
Yes.
Anybody else?
I just have one more thing as you were talking about the actions for sustainable.
Yes.
I had a conversation with Abby Barksdale from American Water at the League of Municipalities meeting, and she apparently was supposed to reach out to you, or you were supposed to reach out to her, one or the other. But I did follow up with her. She does have a all ready to go, a municipal water story that is worth 20 to 25 points that she'd be willing to assist us with. So I did send that to you by email, and
Yeah.
Jody also. Maybe someone could reach out to her.
Yeah, well, I did email her, and I never heard back from her about 2 months ago. And
Okay.
I asked if a Jersey American would do that for us.
No, they will. They will. She's already said they would. So I put that back on her radar, so you guys can follow up with that.
Great, thanks. That's a good one. We're gonna have so many points, we might get silver certification. Actually, they make it too hard. It's like 150, and it's like the next jump up is like 350 points, and it's like, wait, can't you just like double it to 300? But Sustainable Jersey, what could I say? They make everything harder than it should. I have to tell you that story about me being at the Shade Tree Federation conference, and they were talking about the ordinance that needs to be adopted by the tree ordinance by May. And one of the workers over there got up and said, well, that's nice that the state wants them to have an ordinance, but we want to make it more challenging. So our requirements will be I'm like, just get the ordinances adopted, and once you do, then you can make it harder. It's like, oh, she blew my mind. It's like, anyway, anybody have anything else?
One more minor item, perhaps, in response to, I think, a request from Nanette, I
Oh,
took a
yes.
look at the two streets that are about to be repaved this year, which would be the 400 and 500 blocks of Buffalo Avenue. And my major concern on those blocks is that they contain standing water because they're so level that there's no drainage of stormwater off to the ends of the streets where the gutters are. So it's a bit of an engineering problem, but I should suspect that they could repave the streets in such a way as to put a higher level at the middle of the block than at the edges, even by a few inches, would cause the water to drain. But it's a public health problem to have stagnant water stay in the streets for many days and weeks. And that should be enough to convince the city to go along with that. I don't know how Lisa feels about it or what the city engineer would have to say.
Well,
Well,
Ryan,
I'm sure Ryan will look at that. He's very skilled at doing these sort of things, and I'm quite sure it's been done in whenever there is a road repavement, that he goes over that with a fine tooth comb.
Yeah, and
Good,
then the other
good.
thing too is the intersection of Berger and Buffalo is collapsing. There's a storm drain at the end of the block here, and the culvert actually came off. I took pictures of it and sent it to Keith, and he had somebody go out there. It was starting to get dark, and pour concrete and reconcrete this thing, and it was completely exposed. It was just an open hole that a kid walking home from school fall into. But that intersection has been a problem as long as I've lived here, which is 40 some years. And I think the pipes in the ground need to be redone. I told him about it and he's aware of it. So we'll see what happens. You know, there's a creek that runs down 8th Terrace, is it?
Yes,
To Key Rec. So
yes.
that whole area is wet.
Used to be an open ditch.
Yeah. So. And there's not that many trees on Buffalo. There's a lot of space for planting new trees. So.
Yep.
We'll, and that's one of the things we'll have the arborist do, is like when we know we're going to do a certain road, we'll have the arborist go out and look at it and make a recommendation of what type of trees and where they should be located and so forth, you know, and then it'll be our job to contact the homeowners and see if they want one. And then if we have to, we might have to plant trees without their permission. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we won't have to do that though. Anyone else?
Nope.
Okay, well, thanks for everybody for coming out, and thanks for volunteering to help, Amy and Rick and all. We'll see you. Next meeting would be, I guess, the end of March. And we'll talk more about what's going on then. So thanks, everybody. Anybody else?
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good night.
Thank
night.
you. Good night.
Good night.